The rain hammered against the windows of our small cottage in the Cotswolds, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years our lives, Eamon and mine, had been intertwined like the ivy climbing the stone walls of our home. I was a carpenter, content crafting furniture and restoring old homes, while Eamon, with her fiery red hair and even fierier spirit, worked as a marketing manager for a local brewery. We were, or so I thought, perfectly happy. We met at a local pub on a rainy night just like tonight. It was love at first sight, at least on my side. Her laughter was infectious, her eyes sparkled with mischief, and I fell hard. After a whirlwind romance, we married in the village church, surrounded by friends and family. Our life was simple, filled with the quiet joys of shared meals, long walks in the countryside, and the comfortable silence of two people who knew each other inside and out. Or so I thought. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Eamon began working later, claiming new projects and demanding deadlines. Her phone, once an open book, became a closely guarded secret, always face down, always password protected. She'd flinch if I even glanced at it. Her laughter, once freely given, became strained, almost forced. The warmth in her eyes, the spark that had drawn me to her, flickered and dimmed. I tried to dismiss my unease, attributing it to work stress or a passing phase. But the feeling persisted, a gnawing suspicion that something was terribly wrong. One evening, Eamon claimed she had to attend a last-minute conference in Bristol. I offered to drive her, but she declined, insisting she needed to travel alone to prepare for her presentation. As she packed, I noticed a new dress, a slinky black number I'd never seen before. When did she buy that? I wondered, my anxiety tightening its grip. After she left, I found myself unable to settle. The house felt empty, cold, and filled with a silence that amplified my growing dread. I tried to distract myself with work, but my hands trembled as I held my tools, my mind racing with unanswered questions. Finally, unable to bear the uncertainty any longer, I decided to call the hotel where Eamon claimed she was staying. "I'm trying to reach Eamon," I said to the receptionist, my voice barely above a whisper. "Could you connect me to her room, please?" There was a pause. "I'm sorry, sir," the receptionist replied. "There's no one by that name registered here." My blood ran cold. "Are you sure?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Perhaps there's been a mistake." "I've checked the system, sir," she said. "There's no registration under that name." The phone slipped from my grasp, clattering to the floor. I stood there, frozen, the receptionist's words echoing in my ears. She lied. But why? Where was she if not at the conference? And who was she with? The questions swirled in my mind, each one more painful than the last. I spent the rest of the evening in a daze, pacing the floor, replaying every conversation, every interaction with Eamon over the past few months, searching for clues, for answers. As the night wore on, my despair turned to anger, a burning rage that threatened to consume me. I couldn't stay in the house, surrounded by her things, her memories, her lies. I needed to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. I grabbed my coat and keys and headed out into the storm. The drive to Bristol was a blur. The rain lashed against the windscreen, blurring the lights of passing cars, mirroring the chaos in my mind. I had no plan, no idea where to start looking for Eamon. I just knew I had to find her, to confront her, to demand an explanation. As I drove, I remembered a conversation we'd had a few weeks earlier. Eamon had mentioned a new bar that had opened in Bristol, a trendy place with live music and a sophisticated atmosphere. She'd said she wanted to go sometime, but we never got around to it. It was a long shot, but I had nothing else to go on. I typed the name of the bar into my phone and followed the GPS directions. When I arrived, the bar was buzzing with activity. Music spilled out onto the street, and the air was thick with cigarette smoke and the murmur of conversation. I hesitated for a moment, my heart pounding in my chest, then pushed open the door and stepped inside. The bar was dimly lit, crowded with people, and filled with the scent of alcohol and perfume. I scanned the room, my eyes searching for Eamon's familiar face. And then I saw her. She was sitting at a table in a dimly lit corner, laughing, her hand resting on the arm of a man I'd never seen before. He was tall, handsome, with a confident air about him. As I watched, he leaned in and kissed her. My world shattered. The rage that had been simmering inside me exploded, a tidal wave of fury and pain. I strode towards them, my fists clenched, my vision blurring with tears. Eamon saw me coming and her face paled. She tried to say something, but I cut her off. "Who is this?" I demanded, my voice trembling with anger. "What is going on?" Eamon stammered. "Caspar, this isn't what it looks like." "Isn't what it looks like?" I roared. "I'm standing here watching you kiss another man." "What else could it possibly be?" The man, Caspar, stood up, his eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice cold. "I'm her husband," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "Or at least I thought I was," Caspar smirked. "Well, she didn't mention anything about a husband." "That's because she's a liar," I said, turning to Eamon. "A cheat. How long has this been going on?" Eamon burst into tears. "It's not what you think, Lucian," she sobbed. "It just happened. It didn't mean anything." "It didn't mean anything," I repeated, incredulous. "You're kissing another man in a bar and it doesn't mean anything. How stupid do you think I am?" I turned to Caspar. "You should know that you're sleeping with a married woman," I said. "She's been lying to both of us." Caspar looked from me to Eamon, his expression changing from arrogance to disgust. "Is this true?" he asked her. Eamon hung her head, unable to meet his gaze. "Yes," she whispered. Caspar pushed his chair back and stood up. "I'm out of here," he said, glaring at Eamon. "I don't get involved with married women." He turned and walked away, leaving Eamon sobbing at the table. I stood there for a moment watching her, my heart filled with a mix of anger, sadness, and disgust. I wanted to scream, to yell, to hit something, but I couldn't. All I could feel was a deep, aching emptiness. "I can't do this anymore, Eamon," I said, my voice barely audible. "I'm done." I turned and walked away, leaving her alone in the bar, her tears mingling with the rain outside. I drove back to our cottage, the rain still pounding against the windows, washing away the last vestiges of our life together. When I arrived, I packed a bag filled with the essentials: clothes, toiletries, my tools. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't stay there, not with her memories haunting every corner of the house. As I left, I glanced back at the cottage, the place that had been our home for 20 years. It looked small, vulnerable, and utterly desolate. I closed the door and walked away, leaving my old life behind. I ended up in a small coastal town in Cornwall, renting a tiny cottage overlooking the sea. The sound of the waves crashing against the shore was a soothing balm to my wounded soul. I spent my days working, restoring old boats, finding solace in the rhythm of the waves and the smell of salt air. Slowly, gradually, the pain began to ease. The memories of Eamon still lingered, but they no longer held the same power. I started to rebuild my life piece by piece, finding new friends, new interests, new joys. One day I received a letter from Eamon. It was filled with apologies, regrets, and pleas for forgiveness. She claimed she'd made a mistake, that she still loved me, that she wanted to come back. I read the letter, my heart unmoved. The Eamon I had loved was gone, replaced by a stranger, a liar, a cheat. I wrote back, a short, simple message. "It's too late. I've moved on. I suggest you do the same." I never heard from her again. Years passed. I continued to live in Cornwall, content with my simple life. I never remarried, never even dated seriously. The betrayal had left a scar, a deep-seated fear of being hurt again. But I was happy, or at least content. I had found peace in the solitude of the sea, in the rhythm of my work, in the quiet joy of living a life true to myself. One afternoon, as I was working on a boat in the harbor, a woman approached me. She was tall, elegant, with fiery red hair. It was Eamon. My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't seen her in years. She looked older, more worn, but her eyes still held a flicker of the spark I had once loved. "Lucian," she said, her voice soft. "It's been a long time." "Eamon," I replied, my voice neutral. "What do you want?" She hesitated for a moment, then said, "I need your help." "My help?" I asked, incredulous. "After everything you did, you expect me to help you." "I know I hurt you, Lucian," she said, her eyes filling with tears. "I made a terrible mistake, but I'm in trouble and I don't know where else to turn." I folded my arms and waited, my expression unchanged. Eamon took a deep breath and began to tell her story. After our divorce, she had continued her affair with Caspar, but he had turned out to be a manipulative, controlling man. He had isolated her from her friends and family, taken control of her finances, and subjected her to emotional abuse. Eventually, she had managed to escape, but he was now threatening to expose her secrets, to ruin her reputation. "I'm afraid of him, Lucian," she said, her voice trembling. "I don't know what to do." I listened to her story, my heart unmoved. I felt no sympathy for her, no desire to help her. She had made her bed and now she had to lie in it. "I'm sorry, Eamon," I said, my voice cold, "but I can't help you. You made your choices and now you have to live with the consequences." Eamon's face crumpled. "Please, Lucian," she begged. "I'm desperate. I don't know what else to do." "I'm sure you'll figure something out," I said, turning back to my work. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a boat to finish." Eamon stood there for a moment, her eyes filled with despair, then turned and walked away. I watched her go, my heart untouched. I felt no satisfaction in her misery, no sense of triumph. I just felt nothing. The only thing I felt was a sense of relief. I had finally closed the door on that chapter of my life. I had moved on and she was no longer a part of it. I returned to my work, the sound of the waves washing over me, cleansing me of the last vestiges of the past. As the sun set over the sea, casting a golden glow on the water, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. I was free. Finally, truly free. The rain stopped and a sliver of moon peeked through the clouds. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath of the salty air, and smiled. Life goes on, and sometimes it even gets better.